Okay, just want to post a quick video on the channel, kind of as a cautionary tale. So I almost had the motor fired up last night, but as you can see, we're back here with no intake manifold. And that is because I put everything back together, had the engine 100% ready to go. I was just getting ready to crank it over with no spark plugs and no ignition and no fuel pressure to circulate the oil, through all the passages. And I noticed on the ground, I saw some drips of some fluid. And upon inspection underneath, I noticed that the intake manifold was leaking at the coolant passages. Now, as you can see over here, I had to take it back off last night. I was up till 3 in the morning working. I used, so let me see here. Oh yeah, so here's the gasket I used, and this is from Beck Arnley, as I remember. I got off Amazon, and the reason I got it was because I had originally and my bench is a little messy here because last night was a pain in the ass, but you can see this is kind of, I don't know, this Beck Arnley gasket is weird. It's kind of like a plasticky feel. It's kind of smooth. I don't know how to describe it exactly. Oops. And I had port matched this gasket to the intake side of the cylinder head, so I was kind of, all in on using it. Now here's the Felpro, and I didn't originally want to use this because it's got this funky kind of, I don't know, printed sealer thing. Ironically enough, had I used this, the motor wouldn't have leaked coolant. Now here's another gasket I had floating around. This one, you can see it's a little more fibrous, kind of almost like cardboard. And I don't know who makes this one, Felpro maybe or something. I don't know. I think I've got a bunch of gaskets floating around over here. This one's also a little thicker. The Beck Arnley one is noticeably thinner. And I don't think there's too much deviation in the flange. I don't have my granite surface plate and machinist stuff to check this because it's packed up down at my other place, down south. I wasn't expecting to have to rebuild my motor twice. But I think what I used on the intake manifold side, again to the head, last time, I don't know what gasket I used, but I think I coated the whole gasket. I'm going to have to check my notes, but I think I coated the whole gasket, both sides, with a light coat of RTV Ultra Black sealant. I'm going to have to look and see, what the deal was. All I can tell you is that this Beck Arnley gasket, with its super thinness and its weird kind of plasticky surface, did not do a good job at all sealing the coolant side of things. And that's this passage and this passage. It leaked at both locations. Not a lot, but enough to prevent me from firing the motor up, and definitely, under coolant pressure. Wasn't going to be going anywhere. So back to square one on the intake side. So if you guys are wondering why there's no video about firing up my motor, that's why. And I wanted to post this video so that if someone else is, putting a gasket in or putting the intake runners back on and thinks to themselves, yeah, it'll be cool. I don't need to, I just put the gasket on without anything. Think again, because it's, that sealing up those coolant passages is no joke. Now, I also have used a product called Gasket Cinch, which is more or less like contact cement. You put it on both sides, let it get tacky, and then it locks the gasket on. I don't know, something about having the glue in there kind of weirds me out, or freaks me out a little bit, or makes me uncomfortable, I guess. Like I said, I'm gonna have to pull up the notes and see exactly how I approached this last time around. But on this coolant passage here, I'm gonna have to definitely use ultra black to seal this thing down, because if there's any leaks internally between the intake runners on 1 and 2 and this coolant passage that runs out here, I mean, you could create a situation where you get hydrolock or something. So that's a very dangerous situation. That's where water is drawn in, to the intake system and builds up in the piston, and then when the rod comes up to try to compress the mixture, it finds fluid instead of air, and fluid is not compressible, and that's how you end up throwing a rod or putting a hole through your block. So anyways, just want to make a little video here on Sunday afternoon, letting everybody know kind of where things are standing, and kind of like say a cautionary tale, when it comes to putting this intake runner onto the 22RE head. Make darn sure you have some sort of sealing provision. So I'm gonna finish my coffee and get back on this. Like I say, pull up my notes and see what I did last time. But if you're doing the same kind of job, think long and hard before using the Beck Arnley gasket, especially without any sealant, or for that matter, any gasket without any sealant. And definitely take another look at this Velcro here, because it does look like they've kind of done their homework as far as, oh, you know what, we might need some sort of little sealing. It's kind of odd though that it's only on one side. But I think what I'm going to do is probably end up using this gasket here with some RTV sealant on it, and then we'll get the show back on the road. Okay, hope you guys are having a better weekend than I am, and if you have any questions on anything, feel free to use the comment section below. Thanks for watching.